Hey guys, Colorado Dave here. Looks like it's going to be a ZT Saturday. Just starting this channel with you guys. It's only my second day of filming. Wanted to put something out there besides some generic overviews on my knives. I figured I'd pull out a few of my ZTs and just talk about the brand a little bit. I know I've watched a lot of videos. I only got into ZT about a year ago, and before buying my first ZT, which happened to be this one here, which is my what is it, 0652 Ti, which is the titanium version. That was my first purchase, and then immediately after I bought the 0456, which is another knife that I just absolutely love, which is the Dmitry Sinkovich design ZT. But this here is a Rick Hinder design, and it was my first introduction to Rick Hinder, as well as being an introduction to ZT. I watched a lot of videos from a lot of you guys looking at different knives, and I find myself kind of leaning towards heavier, bigger knives, but started out with some of the smaller, less expensive ones, brands like Civivi, and then I did get into Spyderco and went crazy with Spyderco. I do have quite a few Spydercos, which we'll get into on another day, but I do enjoy my Spydercos as well. I think they're awesome, awesome tools, as well as some of them can be just great carries and pretty nice, but for the most part, they're just great tools. And I've kind of grown from that a little bit into ZT, thinking that they're great tools, but in addition to that, they're also beautiful knives. Some of them are very, very pretty knives, and the action on some of them are just phenomenal. I like the noise they make. They're just kind of a unique brand to themselves, and I've learned to really grab on and love what they stand for. I know there's a lot of negative videos out there saying that in the last couple of years they've missed the mark, and they went too small with their knives and they gave up who they were, and a lot of different stories out there. I'm a newbie. I don't claim that I know a lot about the knife world and that I've been in it forever. I had a couple pocket knives growing up as a kid. I went to summer camp for many years out on the East Coast, and was able to throw some knives at trees and whittle and do all that stuff like most kids do with their pocket knives. And I had my Swiss Army, pocket knife like everybody else. As a matter of fact, I have one from many, many, many years ago that I still have today, which is kind of cool. I do have a handful of fixed blades and stuff as well, but I just find ZT to be its own kind of unique niche, as a lot of the companies are. But they don't put out a ton of knives. They put out, a decent amount of knives each year, but what they put out is unique to them. And I'm not seeing anyone doing exactly what they're doing. I don't have any other knives that sound exactly the way theirs do. I love the fact that they're American-made knives, that it's an American manufacturing company, that the knives are all produced here. I think that's great. I don't have to buy 100% American, but I prefer to, and most of my knives are. But I do buy some Chinese knives and some other knives from overseas that are just good quality knives that I want to add to my collection because I like them. I'm not anti either by any stretch, but again, if I could spend my money here, I do. That's pretty much my take on that. But anyway, getting back to ZT, I've started out here. I went into the 0456. Very shortly after that, I picked up the 0393, again, being another Hinder version, being a play on their Eclipse knife by Hinder. It was a no-brainer for me to want to try it, for me to want to play with it, to put it in hand, because I love this knife so much. So no regrets. Again, a great, great knife. Great action. It's different action than the 04562. It's smoother. It has I don't know how to say it, but it has when you can miss it. You can miss this knife. I just missed it on purpose, because you can miss on this knife. You can't miss on the 0562. You're going to basically hit it every time. This knife, with just a little bit of effort, though, it opens up beautifully. And it has a more buttery, softer feel to it. A little less tingy metal sound. It definitely has a beautiful sound when it opens, but it's different than the 0562. Maybe it's the carbon fiber that's on the outside here, the overlays. I'm not sure, but it's just a little quieter, a little smoother, more graceful, for lack of a better term. It is not, it's not 100% false shut, but it's very controlled shut, which I like. And to me, it's perfect. It's fine. But great knife, great knife. I like that very, very, very much. One of my knives on my list that I would love to get is probably the 09, am I saying that right? The 0392, which is the original version of this, which was another Rick Hinder that they did a limited edition on a few years back. I know they have a version, I believe it's in like black and bronze. To me, I would love to get my hands on it. That's on my holy grail list as far as knives that I potentially want to pick up at some point in the game. But it reminds me of this knife a lot, so that's why I'm bringing it up. Again, as I have fallen into these knives and really learned to like the tools that they are and what they stand for and the feel they have, and they feel strong. When you pick up the 0456 and you feel this action, it's phenomenal. I mean, the way it opens, listen to it. It's just, there's very few knives that sound like that. Love it. Probably one of my favorite action knives that I own. The action is just awesome. This knife is interesting because they were all over the place. I know there's a lot of clones. There's all kinds of different things that have happened with this knife. It has since been discontinued. To my knowledge, I don't believe it's being offered out there new anymore on the market. I believe they pretty much have all gone away. I actually had gotten one in. I won't say who the company was, but I did get one in from one of the major retailers, and I was so excited to get it because they were almost out of them, and a lot of the places that I was looking for them were all running out of them. It got delivered to me, and it had a whole bunch of scratches in the blade, and I don't know if it was a return from somebody or what it was, but the company handled it very respectfully. I mean, they immediately said, yeah, send it back, take some pictures. I took some pictures, I sent it back. They sent me in somehow, some way. They said, we're all out of them. We're not going to be able to give you another one. I said, I get it, but I'm not going to pay full boat on this because it's just too scratched up. And, hopefully I can find one on the secondary market, or I can still maybe find one out there new somewhere. And the guy said, you know what? Let me get back to you. He goes, I might still have one around. Anyway, the long and short of it is they did find me one, and I ended up getting the last one they had. And I was ecstatic that I got it because I was a little nervous at first. Like, oh, is it going to be another bad one? But it's actually perfect. It's in great, great condition. New out of the box, obviously. But the action is just, I love it. I love the action. And just listen to it. Nice. I did make one oops on this knife, and I'm upset about it. If you look really closely, right here, there's a little tiny ding. It's the only mark I have in the knife because I love this knife. And I got it because I had my knives laying out like this, and I was actually playing with this knife. I was playing with my 0562, and I went like this and opened it. Like I said, you're never going to miss on this knife. It just opens every time. But I was kind of just not paying attention, and I went like this and opened the knife, and it just happened to catch this edge right here and gave me a nick in this knife, and I was so pissed. But I guess that stuff happens to all of us in our knife world, and we all are particular about our knives and want them to look perfect. And unfortunately, that one got a little tiny ding. Outside of that, it's in great shape, and I love it, and it's not going anywhere. So in the long end, it really doesn't matter. But you know how it is. When you safe clean them a little bit, if you get any marks on them, it can hurt sometimes. That one hurt because it just happened the other day, and I'm like, ouch. But anyway, it did not make a mark on this at all. It actually hit it on the upper edge here, but it didn't even mark it. It didn't do anything. So that's pretty cool. But getting back to where I was at, so then I had bought this one. From there, I decided I wanted to try one of the EDC more pocket-friendly carries that would be maybe a lighter knife for the office, that kind of thing. So that took me into this world. And I decided to start out with the, was it this one first? Yeah, I got this one first. I got the 0450, which is the titanium, because I do like the full titanium. As you can tell with my knives, I'm a fan of titanium. I do enjoy it. But I wanted something different because I knew this knife was going to be a little small in hand for me because my hands are considered, I would say, large. A little bit skinny on the finger side, but I do have large hands. And I was just worried about this knife being too small. I'd seen other reviews. The action looked phenomenal. I love Sinkovich, so I wanted another one of his knives. I wasn't sure that I wanted the larger one because I just don't like the two-sided knives where one side's carbon fiber and the other side is going to be titanium. I've made a few exceptions in my collection, but I prefer my knives to be the same on both sides. And that was what steered me towards the titanium. Now, when I saw the titanium, it didn't excite me because it was just kind of boring, to be honest with you. It was just solid gray and didn't do a lot for me. I had recently just run across online USA Made Blade, which is a great company. Highly recommend them. I've gotten a couple knives from them now, and I've been satisfied with everything I've gotten from them. They're a good company. Their turnaround time was good. I did have to request fast turnaround time, but I got it. They took care of me right away. They said, yeah, we'll take care. I said, hey, I'm new. I'd like to get this turned around, fairly quickly because I had something where I was heading out of town and I wanted to get the knife before I left town. And they took great care of me and got it to me right away. They did not charge me extra or anything like that. They were just like, absolutely, we appreciate your business. So they earned my business, and I will buy other knives from them moving forward. But anyway, they do a lot of custom anodizing on knives. And I saw these knives, and they didn't have them in stock. They just had like a paisley, pattern that it's beautiful. It just wasn't for me. I didn't want paisley. So I hung out and I waited, and eventually they got one that had this look to it, and I decided to give it a try, and I like it. I love the anodization, the anodizing on it, excuse me. You can see where it just fades from the gold into the blue and all that, and the purples, and it's just, I don't know, I just think it's beautiful. I really, really, really like the anodizing on it. I think they know what they're doing. I was a little nervous because that means they take the knife apart. Were they going to put it together right? How is the action going to be? What I learned is because they take them apart, I think they clean them really well. I think they give them back to you in just unbelievable working condition. I mean, this thing is just lubed up. It's ready to go. The action is phenomenal. Highly recommend it. I'm glad I got it anodized because it just makes it fun. Because it is a smaller knife, it's one that I can carry to a nicer event, or I can carry into the office and feel comfortable pulling it out. I don't think it's intimidating to anybody. And just use it as an everyday EDC. And I have brought it, and I do carry it, and I do enjoy it. And I love the action on it. I have just recently put my edge on it. I put a mirror edge on it, and it came out of the box a little disappointing as far as the sharpness. I thought it would come out really screaming sharp because it's one of their smaller knives and one of their thinner blade stocks, and so I thought it was going to come out screaming sharp, and I was disappointed, to be honest. So I put my edge on it sooner than later. But now that I do have about a 17 degree, or not 17 degree, but a 1700s edge on that thing, I love it, and it's sharp as can be, and it cuts through everything just fine. I would not use this knife to go out in my garage and cut cardboard for a half hour. I would use it to open up letters and paper and anything that comes along. I've gotten it gummy with sticker stuff and this, that, and the other, and cleaned it up. It's a great knife. It's going to take your everyday wear and tear of EDC. It's not one you're going to take to the woods to go camping with. It's not one that you're going to, like I said, break down all the cardboard in your garage from Christmas. But it is a great knife that you can use for 80 to 90% of your everyday needs. Again, action, phenomenal. If you have smaller hands, I would say this is the perfect size. If you have medium or smaller hands. If you have larger hands, it's still comfortable. The only negative you're going to get on it is back in here. If you can see where this kind of comes down and scoops down here, it catches my finger wrong. I have to go past it. So I can't really get my 4 fingers on there the way I want to 100%. It just doesn't fit exactly right. And that's why I say it's a little bit small for me. But is it comfortable? It is comfortable. It actually is still very comfortable. So that's why I'm keeping it, because I do think it's still a great knife and one that I can definitely have fun with for some certain special events. Or this is one I can even wear with jeans and stuff if I want to, because it's light enough. And the action's, fun enough just to have a fidgety knife on me on any given summer day. So it's a great little knife. I love it. But then that one came along. And then from there, I'm like, I kind of like this gentleman feel, but I want something that I just have a little bit more room in the hand. So this has something on it. Let me clean it up here real quick. So I started watching some more reviews on ZT, and I started looking at this RJ Martin and Dr. Frankie. I watched. Who else was I watching? I like Bird and Frankie. They're awesome. They like this knife a lot. They're the ones that kind of convinced me that, hey, give this knife a shot. You really got to get it in hand. Because I was hesitant a little bit on it. I wasn't positive if I loved the design of the handle or not. And I was still worried it was going to be too small in the handle, a little bit like the 0450. But this is actually the 0609 is what this is. RJ Martin is the designer. And part of what makes him unique is, I guess, this pivot hole, this see-through pivot hole that they have. Or pivotless pivot hole, whichever you prefer to call it. But what made me fall in love with this knife is I love the blade shape. And I like the size of the blade for an EDC knife. I think it's great. It is CPM 20 CV, so you're getting a great steel. It's just, it's very comfortable in hand. It carries really small. The action's great. No issues with the action at all. It's smooth as can be, no metal on metal. It's, it's very glassy feeling as far as the action. One thing that was a little bit hard for me to get used to on this knife when I first got it, and I've heard people make that comment on the 0450, this one, is that if you catch the lock bar and you get your finger on it, it can be hard, to open, because you get your finger right there when you're trying to open it, and you can't always get it out properly, right? So it took me a while to figure out where to put this finger when I was opening the knife. I had a tendency to want to put it here for whatever reason, just on this flipper, and so I was having a hard time opening it, and so I was putting a lot of pressure on my finger and making my finger sore. Once I figured out just to kind of lift that up a little bit, the thing just opens right up, easy as can be. But for whatever reason, this one took me a little bit to get used to as far as how to hold it. I had been warned on multiple videos that this knife was kind of that way, that if you got your hand on that lock bar, that, it's not going to open up. But I've never once had an issue with it on this knife, which is weird. I naturally, my fingers fall right on that clip. And so it's a non-issue. It just opens right up. But I guess that's how everybody's hands are a little bit different, and why if I say a knife isn't right for me in the hand, it doesn't mean it's a bad knife. It might fit your hand perfect. It just doesn't work well for me. So please keep that in mind when I do these. I don't want to steer anybody away from any knives. I just want to give you an honest opinion with my large hands, what works and what doesn't work. And the ones that are on the table here, they all work pretty good. The only one that I wouldn't say is a great carry for me, just because of size, would be the 0450. But because of the aesthetics and the look of it, I like it in my collection because I don't have a lot of anodized stuff, and I think it's neat, so it'll probably stick around. And I think the action's great on it. But there's not one of these knives that I wouldn't miss if it disappeared, because every one of these has a special place in my collection. And I am looking, at more ZTs because I like a couple of the new ones that are coming out. Speaking of which, brings me to my last knife of today, which is going to be this one right here, which is the 0308. This is the newest in my collection. This is the one that they just released. I got it from Blade HQ. I was lucky enough to get it on the first run. I did make a video on it. I wouldn't call it a full review. I would call it an overview. I just wanted to get something out there to kind of show the knife off a little bit, and honestly to get my feet wet a little bit with trying to do these videos and start a channel. So I know this is a bit lengthy, but I want you guys to get to know me a little bit and understand my style, and hopefully you'll like it and you'll start watching me, and I can start building this channel up a little bit and make some more friends in this community. So, but anyway, I did put a video out on this. If you want to look for it, I'd appreciate it. Any subscribers that I can get, I am crazy grateful for. I am brand new. I have a handful of subscribers. I am going to pump out a bunch of videos here, just kind of casually showing you my collection. I will eventually then get into some more detailed stuff and special topics and maybe do some cut tests. And I'm a chef by trade, so I'm definitely gonna be doing some stuff in the kitchen with my kitchen knives as well as with my pocket knives and playing with them with food and different things. So, you know, hopefully I'll keep it interesting. I don't want to be the same as everybody else. I know I'm going out there initially just with the format of showing you guys, you know, more of this tabletop look. I will be doing some other things. I will definitely be cooking. I'm going to be skiing. I'm going to be hiking. I'm going to be camping. I will be taking my knives with me and I'll be showing them to you guys. I set up an Instagram channel as well, which is Knives in Our Lives, which is the same as the YouTube channel. And I threw some pics out there over the last couple weeks. I just started it. This I started yesterday. Again, it's a hobby as much as anything for me. I'm hoping that, you know, maybe I can grow this enough to make enough money to help support the hobby and get a few more knives going across my desk, as I do just love knives and I love playing with different types of knives. And I'm hoping this will help fuel that hobby, you know, and help support that hobby a little bit. So again, any help from you guys is greatly appreciated. Your comments are appreciated. I will answer them to the best of my ability. I by no means claim to be a knife expert. I think I have some knowledge in the kitchen with knives. I think with pocket knives, I have very little knowledge. I'm learning. I'm still a work in progress. But, you know, like I said, I've carried them on and off for years, but I can't say I've always had a knife in my pocket my whole life. I haven't. In the last couple of years, yes. And now I'll always have a knife in my pocket moving forward, as I just love the hobby, and I love the convenience of just always having that tool on me, you know, to use. And, you know, let's just say I haven't had a letter opener on my desk in a long time, and I love it. But anyway, I know they're more than that, but, you know, we got to justify this crazy hobby somehow, right? Anyway, so that's what I got going on. I'm currently doing this on my cell phone. I did just invest in a GoPro, which I'm setting up, and hopefully that'll help the quality of these videos a little bit. I'm actually taking it up to the mountains to go skiing with it, to test out some of the action features on the camera. I might even throw a couple of those videos on my channels. So you're going to get a little bit of variety on what I put out there. But again, any support from you guys is greatly appreciated. And thanks again for taking the time to listen to me. And if you made it through this video, God bless you. We'll talk to you guys. Thanks so much.